To understand resilience, you have to understand stress. To understand stress, you have to understand that we all come from the jungle. And we are designed to literally be able to run from a tiger and to survive, or not. And if you don't believe me, pay attention to what happens to your body. What's the first thing that happens when you're stressed? You get butterflies in your belly. Why is that? Because that's the blood leaving your belly to go to your butt so you can jump, because your butt is your jumping muscle, and your legs so you can run. That is literally what butterflies are, which personally I think is so cool, right? And then your heart beats fast so you can pump that blood. You breathe fast so you can oxygenate that blood. Your pupils get big so you can jump over the log. You can't think clearly because you're not supposed to turn to the tiger and say, I'd like to work this out. Let's think it through. And you can't feel fully because you're not supposed to turn to the tiger and say, help me understand why it is you want to eat me. I just want to get you. So during times of maximal stress, our bodies feel awful because our blood and our whole system is designed to escape rather than survive or digest. We can't make decisions because we can't talk to the tiger, and we can't connect fully because empathy is not the goal. So that is what stress creates in our bodies. And it makes it so that our minds, actually, the blood is literally, instead of the thinking part of your brain, it's in the, oh my gosh, there's a tiger chasing my butt part of your brain, which is your amygdala. Now, we know how to flip the switch to get the blood back to the thinking part of your brain. And then your amygdala still stays on, but instead of running from the tiger, it goes to its next step, which is wanting to connect to other human beings. How cool is that? So all of that is driven by epinephrine, also known as adrenaline. But a tiger chasing us is actually not the scariest thing in the world to human beings, because that's pretty clear. We see the tiger, we more or less know what to do, run. The scariest thing to human beings is never knowing where the tiger is. The tiger lurking in the grass, looking across a field, knowing you could be attacked at any moment, and it's not predictable, and you think you see the grass rustling, but you're not sure if it's the wind or the end of your life. What that does is it makes you remain hypervigilant, meaning aware all the time of your environment and being ready to jump and run at any moment. That is not adrenaline driven. That is cortisol driven. Cortisol affects your body, your brain, your blood pressure, so you can jump at any moment, even your genetics. So the key here to understand is that uncertainty is more dangerous than having a sense of certainty of what's going to happen. It makes us uncomfortable. What are we living through now? A time of uncertainty. That makes us so uncomfortable that we are trying to turn it into a time of certainty. In other words, we're trying to produce answers that don't exist. And that is the root of catastrophic thinking. It's too hard to say, I don't know what's going to happen. So instead, you go from bad to the worst, because psychologically that's easiest. But in fact, it makes you not deal with reality, and it makes you not deal with things accurately. So coming to awareness of what is accurate is actually a much healthier way to go. So the reality is that parenting is the toughest job in the world, because it's like having your heart on the outside of your body, right? So not only are you worried about yourself, but you're worried deeply about your children in ways that you never even imagined before you had them. And that means that all of our things taste better when we're imagining sharing them with our children. But our fears are also that much stronger when we're imagining things happening to our children. And therefore, we can very easily go into panic mode. And when we go into panic mode, we are not going to be the best kind of adults that children need right now, which is calming co-regulators. That's what they need from us. Instead, we're going to be panic driven. And when we're panic driven, we're not going to be helping them to make wise decisions. We're going to be very controlling. The words that are going to come out of our mouth is, you better don't, right? Because we're going to feel safer with them in a box. But when we do that, we're really getting in the way of their development. So what do we need to do? We need to bring out our best thinking and feeling selves. And that literally is about brain science. It literally is, how do we get ourselves so we can make wise decisions? And again, not surprisingly, this goes back to biology. So take a time out. Just like you told your 2-year-old to take a time out, take a time out. And now do what it takes to calm yourself, right? Which I can tell you from a biologic perspective, the thing that's going to work best are deep breaths. Why? Because one side of our nervous system is, there's a tiger chasing my butt. That side of your nervous system has your brain not thinking and your ability to connect not working. There's the tiger chasing my butt. The other is, I'm chilling, and the I'm chilling side allows the best part of your brain to work. And what we have to do is flip the switch all the way over into the I'm chilling system. And there's only one way to do it biologically, and that's by doing the opposite of what your body does when you're stressed. You can't get the blood from your legs back to your belly. That can't be the switch. You can't get the sweat back into your armpits. That can't be the switch. You can't shrink your pupils. It's the power of breath. When you breathe in a very slow way, but the deep belly breath, whether you're going to call it yoga, meditation, mindfulness, whether you're going to lay in a bath and put your ears underneath the water and breathe deeply and allow your body to go up and down while you're listening to your breathing, or whether you're blowing bubbles, I don't care. It all integrates your nervous system. So we want to co-regulate with our kids, right? What does that mean? If you're in a plane and there's turbulence, you don't want to be looking at the guy next to you because he's hysterical, right? You want to look at the flight attendants. And if they're still serving snack mix, you're cool, right? It's borrowing someone's calm from them. That is co-regulation. So if you're listening to this REDgen presentation and you've got a 3-year-old, then what you want to be for the 3 or 4-year-old is like that duck gliding on the water. Just calm as can be, serene, so that when your child is having a tantrum, they look at you gliding and they go, I'm chilling because she's chilling. But if you have a middle school kid or even a 9 or 10-year-old, and certainly a teenager, and you look like the duck gliding on the water, you're just going to look like a fool who's not real. They're going to see you as a robot. So instead, what you want to be is a little bit more honest. Yeah, you're floating on the water and you're gliding, but it's only because your little feet are paddling like crazy underneath, right? So the way we parent is by showing them all the hard work we do to self-regulate so that we can co-regulate, right? That's how they walk away with a resilience-building opportunity. So parents have a lot of fears nowadays, but I'd like to start with the biggest one, because until we confront this one, we're not going to be able to do anything for kids. We have to deal with our own fear of failure. We have been so used to juggling so many things for our kids, like in ancient history, and by that I mean March of 2020, right? We were already juggling so many things. And now there's all this extra stuff that we are juggling, right? And what that means is that some balls are dropping. And we feel like we're failing our kids. And I'm going to point out that I think it's the opposite. Because if you don't just look at the balls on the ground, but you look at the balls that you've chosen to keep up in the air, now you have picked your priorities. Now you have figured out what matters the most. And this is an opportunity to really pass along these life lessons to your children. It is extraordinary, all right? But there's a reason that you don't want to parent out of fear for your children, because you will be a parent who controls them. Because if you're parenting out of fear, then you're just going to wrap them in bubble wrap or like, you know, tie them to a post in your house, right? And that is going to fly in the face of their development. Kids need to learn mistakes in order to get back up. And if we parent out of fear, we will prevent them from making the very mistakes that they need to become strong, resilient individuals. So stop thinking about the moment and again, think about the 35-year-old. Have very, very clear boundaries beyond which they cannot stray. And those boundaries are about true safety, right? If it's outside the boundaries, the answer is no. If it's inside the boundaries that you've set and you're role modeling for them, let them make their mistakes. And just take a breath and remind yourself, I am parenting the 35-year-old who will be able to better handle